And we are
Hey.
live. It's Thursday and we are live. It's Let's Do Lunch. Make sure you hit that subscribe button on YouTube, hit the like button as well, and get involved in the comments as we talk through the show and get our amazing guests on. As always, this hunky guy who's not that side is with me. How you doing, mate?
All right, mate. You?
Yeah, all good, all good. Looking
Right.
forward to this one today.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've got some
Just
good
this one.
guests. Just this one. We've got some good guests, and I feel slightly out of breath. I went for a panic wee about 20 seconds before we were meant to go live, and yeah. Do you
All
not
right.
do that thing where you're waiting for something to happen, and you might have a water bottle, you might have a drink on you, and you decide to down the drink, and then just as I used to do it for job interviews, like I'd sit outside waiting to go in for the job interview, and I'll be sipping away at like the water from the water dispenser, and then I'll realise that just before I'm meant to go in for that interview, I really need a wee.
Busting. Yeah.
Busting, can't hold it.
Jelly and friends.
Yeah, yes.
With Jeff Goldblum.
That is such a good scene. Anyway, let's get on with the show. Less about my wee, less about Joey's wee, more about the big story today, which I want to touch on. Usually we don't plan this bit, but today I mentioned to Jack that I really want to talk about one thing before we start the show properly, and that one thing today is the legend that is Captain Tom Moore. I mean, what a hero. And it doesn't feel right, Jack, that we've got a platform and we don't talk about him today.
That's true. That's true. Hey, imagine if we got him on the show.
We might do. Who knows?
Let's try and make it happen. Anyone that knows him that might see this, that can make that happen, will be forever in your debt.
I've interviewed a few people and never been starstruck, but I think if Captain Tom Moore, now Colonel Tom Moore, actually appeared on a show with me, or I had the chance to speak to him, I think I'd be starstruck. It'd be like all the celebrities when they do the Royal Variety Show and they meet the Queen.
It'd be pretty big, wouldn't it?
It'd be massive. I mean, it's 100 years old today.
Yes.
I mean, he's lived through so much. He's lived through wars. He's lived through now this pandemic. He's lived through economic crisis, 9/11. Like, he's just a hero, and he is still trying to do his bit to put smiles on faces. So it just didn't feel right to move on with the show today without saying happy birthday, Colonel Tom Moore, and 30 million quid is raised as well, which is just
incredible. That's incredible.
Absolutely mind blowing. He's incredible, and if you follow him on Twitter as well, I don't know who's handling his Twitter accounts and stuff, but it's feel good messaging, and that's what we need right now. We need good stories at the moment amongst the bad. So thank you, Captain Colonel Tom Moore, for just adding positivity to all of our lives, and for making us, whenever, I know this is going to sound really stupid, right? But last week, I was getting towards the end of a run, and in my head, I was like, I need to stop and walk. And then in my head, I actually went, I tell you what, if this guy who's nearly 100 years old can go and do 100 laps of his back garden and raise 30 million quid, I can run for an extra 20 seconds. And it's little things like that he's just so inspiring. And my story doesn't make a difference to anyone. His does. And it's just hugely inspiring. So I just want to salute Colonel Tom Moore today, because he's inspiring us all, and I don't know if you've got anything to add to that, mate.
No, mate. I mean, you said it all. What a guy!
What a guy! Me or him?
You really need to ask that.
Yeah, true. Thank you. Let's move on with the show anyway. Let's kick it off with our SMEs in Kent featured 5. Jack, we'll pass it over to you for the first one, mate.
All right, then. Number 1, we've got Michelle Jackson, and she is a freelance PR consultant with over 15 years' experience, offering bespoke PR and marketing services, including press release creation and distribution, website copy and design, social media management, blog writing, and proofreading. Need Michelle's help? Contact her via the SMEs in Kent Facebook group.
SMEs in Kent, mate. You nearly got there, though. At number 2.
Small S at the end. Whatever is written there, I will read it.
We'll see if that works next week, shall we? Lily's Bistro, who have just signed up to your local dot delivery and are now taking orders to deliver to the Folkestone, Hythe, Canterbury and Ashford areas on particular days. You can order fresh afternoon teas, cakes and much more yummy stuff. You can visit their store at your local dot delivery /Lily's-Bistro, and it's 1L, Lily. Number 3.
Can't wait. I'm going to check that out. Easy PR are offering a number of tips on website and social media housekeeping. No jargon, just handy advice on how to make sure we all look good online for our existing or potential customers. Visit easypr.co.uk/blog.
Ben Abbott has brought back the Kent Business Podcast to help keep us all entertained during this lockdown period. The first 2 episodes are live right now. You can take a listen by searching the Kent Business Podcast on your chosen podcast provider, or head to kentbusinesspodcast.podbean.com.
Oh. And finally, Mirage Designs is an interior design and refurbishment business of 15 years based near Canterbury and covering all of Kent. During COVID-19, they are supporting our clients by offering room-by-room online design consultations, including home office recommendations and designing affordable show homes for developers struggling to sell at the present time. Please contact them by phone 07949 764 941 or via email beth@miragedesigns.co.uk.
Mate, expertly done. And if you want to be in our featured 5 on Tuesday show, just join our Facebook group. Go to facebook.com/groups/SMES Kent, or SMES Kent, as Jack would say. Go and check it out and look out for our post, which would appear on Monday. And we could be plugging your business to the millions of people who use YouTube and Facebook. Anyway, let's move on to what we've got on today's show. We've got Pip's 90-second tip coming up in around about 15 minutes time. He's going to be demoing and giving advice on how to check your site is indexed and any initial problems with Google. We've got Caroline, who's going to be jumping on. She's the director of PR and content at Westgate Communications. They're teaming up with us at yourlocal.delivery to deliver our PR and press strategy. We'll be talking about the importance of press at the moment and the impact of pandemic. I was going to say pandemic. That's not even a word. The pandemic has had on press. And we've also got Blake. My mate Blake's going to be on the show. Blake McCaskill, who runs City Sound Project, Student Republic. They are basically the company, the events company in Canterbury that runs all the major nights for the 2 biggest universities. And they are probably one of the biggest events companies in the Southeast as well. So we'll talk to Blake in a bit. But first of all, as always, let's start the show with Challenge Jack. And Jack, today's I'm actually quite excited about.
Yeah, you always are.
Yeah.
The result is always me in some form of discomfort.
True, but I think today could be ultimate discomfort, and it could make for great video. Now, as always with Challenge Jack, it's down to you guys watching to vote for what Jack does before the end of the show. So I better press tweet now. If you want to go check that out. It's a bit risky today, as there could be a lot of mess. So, Jack, you have 1 egg that's boiled and another egg that's raw.
I do.
You've marked 1 egg with A and the other egg with B.
B.
All you guys need to do watching is go online and vote for which egg Jack should crack over his head at the end of the show. So basically, we'll be voting to see if we can end the show with Jack having egg on his face. What isn't there to love?
It's just, will it be raw? Will it be boiled?
Yeah, will it be raw? Will it be boiled? Whereabouts are you going to bash it, Jack? Can I just... Can we have it on the forehead?
Yeah, I think I'm just going to go...
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, I think that's a good idea. I'm looking forward to this. You can vote now in the chat, A or B, egg A or egg B, or you can vote in the polls across our social media. Go to @digitalbeansuk. It's on our Instagram stories or on our Twitter. That's @digitalbeansuk. A or B. What egg should Jack smash on his forehead before the end of the show today?
A or B.
A or B. I can't wait for that. Right, let's move on and let's get our first guest on the show because this is a conversation I've wanted to have with Blake since, well, for the last couple of weeks, because Blake is one of the most inventive people I know. He built Student Republic, who run basically major nights for Canterbury's 2 big universities, into a massive brand that now doesn't just do music and DJ nights. It does big festivals with the City Sound Project in the centre of Canterbury, and he's also recently been doing comedy events. And when this all kicked off, I said to Blake, what can I do to help? Because obviously at the moment you can't get people in venues and you can't host shows. So I want to talk to Blake about what they're doing virtually, but also about the effect the pandemic's had on them. Let's get him in. Blake, hello mate.
Hey, how you doing?
How you doing?
Yeah, good. How are you?
Yeah, it's good to see you. It's good to see your face. I mean, it's been a very, very weird time, hasn't it? And as a founder of an events company, I suppose the first question is going to be really open, but I want to get a sense of sort of what impact this pandemic has had on your business. So just tell us a little bit about what the last month, 6 weeks have been like for you.
Very, very weird. Yeah, I mean, we're running an events company, and we can't do any events. I think the weirdest thing for us really is the kind of the not knowing. This is a kind of open-ended thing at a minute. So normally, if something came along that stopped us doing an event or a big festival, we would have a contingency plan. We'd have a kind of another date in mind. We'd have something else to kind of plan. We can't really do much planning, so we've just tried to be as kind of creative as we can, and look at it and go, right, we can't do real live shows. We're going to have to do virtual shows, and kind of rework our business model a bit. But the last month has been an interesting one. I hope we don't have many like it again. But we're trying to keep positive. We have the kind of thinking that from a crisis, it sounds a bit cheesy, but from a crisis, I think there is always a kind of a surge of creativity, and we only have to look at our news feeds or our social media feeds just to see how many people are kind of the change in how people are consuming this stuff, but also expressing themselves and putting it out there. Obviously, technology is now allowing us to have conversations like this, but also for artists and DJs and people like that, just to kind of put their own material out. So just a month of kind of re-looking at it, repointing and repositioning ourselves, and just kind of trying to re-establish our aims, really.
Yeah, because you had a lot planned for this year, didn't you? I mean, you had City Sound Project in the park. You had a number of nights already booked up and ready to go. You would just
a massive year,
mate. You had also just launched an event side of your business as well, which was going amazingly. Like, you was getting some amazing names into Canterbury, into intimate venues to perform amazing comedy gigs as well. So I suppose from that point of view, do you know roughly how many shows you've had to pull and postpone and reschedule?
It's pretty dismal reading. I mean, at the minute, we're not looking at doing anything. We can't look at anything before September. But between now and September, if you add up all of our shows, we're probably looking at the kind of like the higher end of the 40s. So just 40 odd shows. Some of them small shows, but some of them, a big show, with 5,000 capacity. So it's devastating reading, but times will change, and we'll have a big year next year. I mean, to be honest with you, next summer's going to be nuts. I mean, if you think about all of the sporting events that are going to happen that haven't happened this year, the Olympics, wow, we're going to have a 2021 for sure.
I mean, fingers crossed. I mean, hopefully, I mean, obviously, like you say there, the glimmer of hope, the light is at the end of the tunnel. But obviously, when you look back and 40 I don't know, 40 events, that's absolutely crazy. And obviously, it's not just in one genre to one crowd. That's many different audiences there who obviously don't have an event to go to, and obviously you're not putting on that kind of event. There's artists, obviously, you had booked up and bits and pieces like that.
It's not just us. I mean, we feel really badly for the artists. I mean, you've got to think that these people have been practicing and honing their sets, honing their skills, ready for a really busy festival season. Gigs and events everywhere, and to have that ripped from them as well, as an artist, that must be quite devastating. And it's now across the board. It's every artist, every DJ, every performer of any type. Whether we're talking specifically about music, but there's we do work with some poets as well, and they've got nothing. Dancers, people like that. There's no arts and culture happening at all in real life. So we'll have to. I think we've got a shared responsibility, everybody that works in the sector, to kind of pull together, collaborate as much as we can, think innovatively, and do what we can to change direction.
I know you work with a lot of different artists of all different stature, and sort of, as you say, they're in different genres, from poets to musicians to comedians. For you, what has that reaction been like from the artists and from the crowds?
So the artists, like I said, they really want to perform. They really want to perform. So we quite quickly developed a virtual sound project. So our main brand is City Sound Project, and we do the music shows, as you said, and then we do a CSP, a City Sound Project, CSP in the park, and that's our big main free-to-enter community event. We launched Virtual Sound Project, which is essentially a live streaming festival. It's every day. We do a daily stream at 7 p.m. And artists can come on and basically put on a show to a virtual audience. And we've just tried to kind of create a platform where, okay, if we can't create a real live stage, we'll create a virtual one. And it's worked really well. We've got, we've since lockdown, we've put out 22 streams now. We've had the odd day off here and there. And
you're
allowed
to.
Yeah. It's all unpaid as well.
Yeah, exactly.
We've done 22 streams. We've got collective views of 97,000 across those streams. And we've been trying to raise money for the NHS while we're doing it, because we just think, obviously everybody's it's kind of pulled on everyone's heartstrings, really, what the frontline workers are doing. That's kind of what we've done. But yeah, to answer your question, in terms of the artists, they want to perform. They've got their own music. They want to perform. The DJs have got their own kind of set and their setup. They want to perform. Everybody can, but we're just trying to kind of house everyone together and kind of channel the audience so that stage is bigger. So it's not kind of just, yes, I'm a solo artist trying to put out to my audience. We're trying to create new audiences for that artist.
Of course. And I mean, and that should be the way it is. Artists should be embracing this now, because it's all really, at the moment, they've got to embrace. So to do something like this, I think they've been saying the same in like the box. I was thinking about this the other day. I don't know if you guys watch much boxing, but I was listening to, there's a fight just been announced in Poland. It's Whack against a guy called, I think it's Johnson. And they're charging literally £2.50 to watch the fight through YouTube on pay-per-view.
Right.
And it's just like, it's generated so much interest of people saying, do you know what? £2.50, I'll watch that. But to these people, and to put on events like that and to be able to watch it, actually, if, say, for instance, 100,000 people pay £2.50 to watch that fight, it's a massive income that helps cover that gate. And and I think it's the same for like sort of artists and tour shows and bits and pieces like that. I don't think it's long until maybe people start looking at that and ways to be able to do that, so that artists can.
So it's interesting you bring up this point. I mean, we're developing at the minute an idea.
I'll put it up. I've just let the cat out of the bag on ideas that people trying to plan in the background.
So we're developing this idea where, I mean, obviously we've touched on it already. People can now from their phone, pretty much wherever they are, as long as they've got a 4G connection, they can essentially broadcast themselves to the world.
Like we are now.
Audience, like we are now. However, some people, I'm not going to name names or anything, but I know really, really, really talented artists that might not be as technically able to kind of put across a really professional looking stream. Some artists are really, really clued up and really geared up, and they've got really good equipment. They've got kind of audio lines in, and they can essentially use their phone as a mini studio. But we're developing an idea to push the virtual sound project on, where we can basically create a kind of a micro and mobile live streaming studio, just with a little bit of simple equipment, a little live stream camera, small mixing desk, where we can invite, once the lockdown loosens a little bit. Obviously we're not going to be talking about gatherings for a while, but once people can get a bit more free movement, we can invite people into our studio to create them a live stream or a video that they can just use and share wherever they want, and then help them to try and monetize that as well. Maybe there's a new revenue stream there for us as producers and promoters, and them as an artist, where we can actually create this kind of online virtual gig that is paid for, whether that's through sponsorship, whether that's through tips and donations, or whether it's pay-per-view. Yeah, so we're kind of just working through that idea now, but somehow we can collaborate with the artist to kind of create a kind of virtual gig or venue, I guess.
That's a good idea. And when that like sort of launches off the ground, let us know. It'd be good to have you to come back on and talk about that technically and what difference that can make to local artists as well. Especially, I mean, I have got 3 questions here about the virtual sound project, and the reason why I've split them out is because I think it'd be quite interesting for a couple of minutes just to hit on that technical aspect of it and sort of what it does for you guys as a business too. And I think actually on this I'll bring Jack in as well after we've heard from you in terms of when artists.
I can answer. I think technically, I mean, George, my partner on it, is more the technical side of it, but I'll do my best.
It's more the side of these artists when they're live streaming. So when they're live streaming, the music feed sounds amazing. it's like you're listening to it on an audio track. You know, you can see them visually on a good looking camera. So these artists, when they do this, how are they doing it? I suppose is the question.
So it's a good question. So when we're saying we're streaming it, when we broadcast and in someone's newsfeed it says that City Sound Project or Virtual Sound Project are live, we're pushing a video out that's live. We've had a mixture. We've had some artists that have pre-recorded, sent us their video, and then we basically broadcast it live at 7 p.m. It's a cheap, but we're not promising live streams. It's just the way we're delivering the performance.
You're putting a program out at 7 o'clock every evening. That's
exactly. It's just a 7 p.m. program. But we have had a number of people do it live from their own home or from their own kitchen. It's rather nerve-wracking when we're not in full control of that, and we basically essentially send them we're running off OBS at the minute, which is the operating system that we push out through. We essentially send them a stream key. They then can log on as if we were, and then but it kind of hands the control over to them. So technically, we're in their lap, if you like. But yeah, that's kind of we prefer it, and I think it's better for the artists as well. If they send us a pre-recorded video, then we can use our robust internet connection without interruption and push it out.
It means that you're fully in control of what's going on. I was just going to quickly bring you in a second, mate. Like for these artists who are live streaming from home and stuff, and people who are doing live stream, especially if you're into music, is there any sort of equipment you'd recommend to them, mate? Anything that you would say to them that is worth looking into?
Blimey. I mean, this is such a new area, I think, for a lot of people that I honestly don't know. I'd just be cobbling it together the best I could, you know, with what I know, which is limited. So yeah, I don't know.
What about cameras and bits and bobs like that? Any camera that you'd...
Okay, so Blake, you just mentioned OBS.
Yes.
I was able to attach my Canon camera via USB to my computer, and I was able to live stream via YouTube using OBS. However, there was a lag, and I struggled with it because obviously I'm hearing myself speak just slightly later, and it was putting me off.
So we've got a lag. We've got a live lag of about 30 seconds.
Yeah, it's mental, isn't it?
So that's where it'd be difficult in a live situation to kind of broadcast like that.
Yeah.
I think also for those looking at cameras, if you are looking to invest in some equipment, definitely check that you can use it for live stream purposes before you buy it, if that's what your intentions are, because there are still some cameras out there that potentially are cheaper alternatives that will not work with live streaming. So
the mindful that we're talking, you know, the minefield, sorry, we're talking through at the minute is kind of why. It's the reason behind why we want to put this virtual studio thing on, because then people don't need to kind of worry about the technical side. They can just worry about their performance. They can worry about their material, and not become a tech hand. They can stay musician.
Yeah, no, definitely. And the only other thing I want to hit on with the Virtual Sound Project quickly, Blake, is just around sort of the artists you've had on, the artists you've got coming up. So tell us a little bit about what people have to look forward to and what they can go back and watch.
So Virtual Sound Project, we've had people like James Hype on there. So we've had some pretty big high profile artists, but this was always our ethos with City Sound Project, was to create a big platform and mix headline acts, high profile acts with our local, you know, musicians and performers. So we've had the likes of James Hype. We're working on at the moment. We may stop the Virtual Sound Project after this week for a week. Have a break, because what we want to do is, whilst we would have been in the Dane John Gardens doing our CSP in the Park event, which is the big free family friendly event, we're gonna do a 2-day festival online. So we're going to basically program from 12 until 8 all day Saturday and Sunday. So we're just working on that. We're talking to all the people, all the headline artists and all the local artists that we had booked or provisionally booked for the Dane John Gardens, and hoping that they would all perform. So we're talking to people like Norman J to DJ. We're talking to House Gospel Choir again, people like that. So it could be a really, really special weekend. And we're also talking to Radburger and the Canterbury Brewers as well, and see if we can do a kind of festival pack that can be delivered to your house, so we can bring a festival.
That's wicked.
Yeah,
that's wicked. What a great idea. And so I'm just going to go and quickly check, Blake, because I haven't had my invite from you yet to appear on the live stream.
It's coming.
It's coming. See, me and Jack would be well up for that. Me and Jack could come on. We could come and do the intro. We could do the live intro.
There we go. I think this is it.
We could open it and close it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This recording, I can hold you to this.
Yeah, no, honestly, hold us to it. We're in lockdown. We're not doing much else, honestly. So just let us know about it. Blake, quickly tell us about those links, mate. And obviously, when all this stuff starts to get into fruition, so to speak, we'll obviously hopefully get you back on.
Thanks. So City Sound Project, it's the City Sound Project Facebook page is where we're live streaming from. We've actually set up a virtual sound project page as well, but we stream across all of our pages, so CSPA in a park, etc. And this week we're pushing, and from now on we're pushing to raise money for the PPE production and manufacture locally that Ed Withers and the Canterbury community spot are pushing. So. Yeah,
brilliant. No, that's fantastic. Thank you so much for coming on, Blake. Keep up the great work, and it's great to hear how virtual you've gone as well. It's good to see that you're embracing it.
Yeah, got it. Thanks.
Cheers, mate. Take care. Thank you. Bye. Blake McCaskill there from Student Republic and City Sound Project. Lovely guy, great guest. And Jack, we're going to end up on a live stream hosting a festival. How about that?
This is just going. You know what I mean? Like the sky's the limit on this, mate.
I just hope that our boss hasn't heard us saying all this, because he's just going to be worried that our heads are going to be too big for our boots, I reckon. Oh, he's here. He's here now. There he is.
Hey,
all right.
Hello, mate. You okay?
How's it going?
Yeah. All good. All good.
Yeah?
How are you?
Yeah, good, mate. Good.
Do you know what I love?
Another festival.
Yeah, another festival. Yeah, you could say that. But this time, me and Jack are going to do it as a duo.
Yeah. Well, hopefully this one doesn't cancel on you like Glastonbury did, mate.
Well, look, I told you not to tell anyone about that. It's really harsh. I was thinking that maybe for a challenge, Jack, if we are going to do this, we could get you to try and learn and recite all the lyrics to PJ and Duncan, Let's Get Ready to Rumble, and then we can perform it live on the live stream. Do you already know that?
Already know, mate.
Oh, there you go. It's a useless challenge then.
No.
Right. You're not joking. You're not. Go on. How does it start?
I don't know.
I was hoping you were just going to come out with the open lyrics.
Get ready.
Let's get ready to rumble. Watch us check. Jack, have you told Pip about the new name for this segment yet?
No, I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, okay, cool. He's flaking on it. Pip, Jack had an idea for a new name for this section.
Yeah.
And he's now refusing to tell you about it. I'm trying to stitch him up. He's gone slightly pink.
I think his internet's frozen.
yeah. Let's move on to Pip's 90-second tip. And Pip, what do we have today, mate?
Today we have Google and a bit of SEO, but a quick and easy way to see if your site's indexed. So to see essentially is Google picking it up? Does it have any potential of it being found? And also a very basic way to see if there's any potential problems with any of that. A lot of people I talk to don't know what Google Search Console is. They start looking at me like Jack just did a minute ago with a blank stare. And so this is for anyone. You don't need Google Search Console, but yeah, it'll give you some input as to what's going on.
Sounds good. And do people need to jump onto any programs now to be able to do it along with you? Or?
Yeah, it's a website. So it's G for Google, O,
Google.
G,
and then G for Google.
E.com. Oh. Google. So if you head over to google.com, you can follow what I'm doing exactly.
Are you screen sharing?
I will screen share.
Lovely.
I will share my screen
go, then.
momentarily.
There is no way he's doing this in 90 seconds.
I bet I did. I bet I did it today.
Do you reckon?
Is that screen shared nicely?
I can see it. I can add it in. We can jump on it. Here we go. We're here. Right. So Pip's 90-second tip today. It's all about checking if it's. Well, wait a second. Where's my write up? It's all about checking to see if your site is indexed and any initial problems with Google, as Pip just lovely explained better than me. Jack, over to you.
Right. You ready, Pip? Yeah. 3.
I mean, that is just a reflection of your screen, but sure. Okay, let's go with it.
2, 1, kaboom.
Cool. So, right, what we want to see is to see if your website is indexed. So what you need to do is go to Google and just type in site : don't leave any spaces, and then just put in your website domain. So drop any www dots, drop any HTTPs or anything like that. You literally just want your domain. So site : so I'm going to do digitalbeans.agency, if I've spelled that correctly. Yep. and off we go. So what we're doing here is we are telling Google that we want to see pages from our own site. So if we so if we scroll down, so here we can see all the pages that are indexed on Digital Beans. This is actually interesting to do it in real time as well, because I can see a bunch of projects that were actually indexed as well. So that's all currently being sorted. So so we can see here, for example, our contact page. You can expect that to be there. Now, for us, clearly 6,000 pages is too many. So that is where I know we've had a couple of other sites be indexed under our domain, which is currently being sorted. So what you want to do is go through these pages and make sure that the pages you're seeing there are what you expect. So maybe let's do something a bit more straightforward. Simplyhair.co.uk.
Oh,
Boom,
what's
done.
occurring?
Oh, those 90 seconds are quick. They are quick.
I know. It's like a minute and a half.
Oh, almost, isn't it? It's almost a minute and a half. So,
why am I so pink? I don't
so the idea is that you want to go through it, check what pages are indexed. There should be the pages that you expect to see on your website. Start clicking around. If you see too many pages like we did for Digital Beans, you know that perhaps other pages are being indexed that you shouldn't have or that you didn't expect to have. So go through, figure out why they're there. Sometimes, especially if you've got an e-commerce, but also if you've just got a normal, straightforward site, sometimes there's pages you didn't know existed, like archive pages and sitemaps and stuff like that, that can at times be indexed. So you want to go through that and make sure that what's being indexed is good. If you are having more problems, or in particular pages that you'd like indexed, so potentially served up to users, are not there, then that's when you're probably going to want to talk to a developer or jump into Google Search Console. Maybe we do that on another 90-minute video.
90 minutes? You'd be lucky.
And figure out why. But yeah, site colon is a little command that most people don't know about. So
I mean, actually, Digital Beans there is actually a good example in some ways, because what pages are you meant to be seeing when you are searching through Google with that method?
So what you want is to have your main pages, all the pages you'd expect users to see, stuff about your services, your products. That's what you want. If you start seeing a lot of versions of the same page, sometimes the pages are available under different URLs. That's not good. So if the same page, the same content is being delivered, but the address is different, then that's something to look out for as well.
And just quickly, if there's pages that you don't want to see, is there a simple solution? Is it the delete button?
You're jumping ahead. That's going to be my next 90-second. Another
time. Lovely. So we can end on that cliffhanger. Drop that mic. Love it. Brilliant. Thank you so much for that, Pip. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
And who's going to be getting the job to sort out our indexing then on the Digital Beans website?
I'm already on it.
On it like a car bonnet. Thank you, mate.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers, mate. Take care. Bye.
Thanks, Jack. Bye.
Bye.
Love him. Thank you, Pip. And yeah, if you want to find out more information about indexing, and if you want to find out more information about whether you have got the right pages being shown, or you want some more information about what you need to do next, be watching the next episode, because Pip's going to explain in a bit more details in another 90 seconds, which will probably end up being 300 seconds or something like that. Yeah. Cheers, Pip. Right, let's move on, shall we, with our next guest on the show today. And Jack, I shall hand it over to you.
Okay, today we've got Caroline, Director of PR and Content at Westgate Communications, who are a PR, content and design agency based in Sevenoaks, delivering outstanding creative solutions, delivering creative excellence, building brands, growing businesses. Hello, Caroline. How are you doing?
Hello, how are you?
Good.
You both look very well.
Sorry?
You both look very well.
Oh, thank you. Oh, gosh. This is my lockdown look.
It's very difficult. I'll tell you what, Zoom lighting is not flattering ever. So you managed to get some natural daylight on you at least.
I did. Unfortunately, I'm in front of a couple of windows, but...
Do you know what? Do you know, if we're going to be really truthful here, before every live stream, Jack has a panic about his lighting. if we're going to be really truthful and give you a behind the scenes look, he'll always spend 5 minutes shuffling around with curtains and blinds or whatever he's got in front of him there, making sure that that light is hitting his face perfectly.
I'm a videographer. It's my trade. It's in my interest to make sure I get these things right.
To look beautiful.
Well, it's paid off, I've noticed, so that's always good.
There we go, Jack.
Bingo. All right. Again,
Well,
thanks.
thank you both for having me anyway.
I'm sorry?
Thank you both for having me.
No, thank you for coming on. It's great. People contributing. We really appreciate it. So I don't know very much, I'll be honest, about the world of PR. So why don't you tell me a little bit about what you do as a company, the services you offer and things like that?
So we focus on communication. So it's very much about making sure that our clients' messages are on point, basically to support them to either get rich or get famous in sort of the basic terms. And it's about making sure that whatever they're saying resonates with who their target audience is, and that it's pushed out in the channels that are best appropriate for them. So sometimes we have clients who will say, I want to be on the Daily Mail, and sometimes we say, okay, does that serve what you want to do? And if it's yes, then we craft loads of stories that hopefully will get them on the Daily Mail. And if it's not appropriate, then we say, actually, have you thought about looking at maybe more sector appropriate press, or why do you want to be on the Daily Mail? Is it just for your ego? Which sometimes it can be.
Yeah, I imagine. That sounds like quite a challenging job or service.
Yeah, it has its moments. You kind of have to love it. I suppose it's true of most industries. It can be very demanding, it can be very time pressured. Obviously, it's delivery against, you're not necessarily paying the press for inclusion. So sometimes stories get dropped at the last minute, which is really frustrating. But at the same time, you kind of live for the times when the good stuff rolls and you come in and you think, yeah, that was bloody excellent.
So do you work predominantly with some individuals or companies or a mixture? Or?
Generally, it tends to be companies. So we'll work either with depending on the size of the client, either directly with the MD or perhaps with their in-house marketing or communications team to support them. But yeah, we have worked with individuals in the past as well. So yeah, generally our clients are kind of SMEs, so right on point for this. Yeah, we sort of work with them to build either their corporate profile or, as I say, just make more consumers aware of what services and products they might be selling or wanting to push. Sure.
And I guess now, given the current situation, I mean, press and communications have never been more important.
Yes, exactly. It's something that we've seen over the last, 7 weeks or however long it's been now, that some companies have massively ballsed it up, to put it bluntly.
Oh, really?
Yeah, big companies as well have really messed it up because they might have been portrayed in the press and have their reputation damaged because they've not been either handling their employees correctly, managing how they are navigating this weird period where people are suddenly working from home, people are being furloughed, people are being, especially at the beginning, no one knew what they were doing. So some people were being sent into work when actually maybe they shouldn't have been putting makeup on a client for on a beauty desk in a department store, but because it wasn't clear cut, and those massive companies that own those beauty boutiques or clothing stores or whatever it was might not have been directing their staff, and they kind of suffered a lot at the beginning because they were seen to be huge companies that weren't necessarily putting the most important things first. So yeah, communications can be really damaging. On the plus side though, it can really shout about the individual work that people are doing to support what's happening. So we've seen quite a lot of alcohol producers, including distillers here in Kent. So I know that Shepherd Neame and Copper Rivet have joined together to produce some hand sanitizer, as well as other producers in the county. So it can really help show how businesses really care. And of course, you guys setting up your local delivery to support kind of local businesses and producers to really make sure that they can continue going. It just if it's communicated in the right way and it gets the message out there, it can be really effective building brand reputation for a really long time, and it will really make people remember, and it will be one of those things that people say, well, what did you do back in the COVID-19 pandemic?
Yeah, absolutely. So, and you've been involved with it, of course, haven't you, on your local delivery?
Yeah, so I've been working with Ben for a few weeks now, I think, looking to push your local delivery where possible in the media, and just make a bit of noise around it, really, to make sure that people that could benefit from the services know what's there, but also that, you know, other businesses really can keep going and keep serving, and don't have to worry about the fact they're not particularly tech strong.
Yeah.
At this moment in time, and they know that there's someone who can help them, which is really invaluable.
Absolutely. I mean, you touched on there how vital it is for a company like ourselves to kind of, you know, contribute, and that's something that we're looking to sort of show in the long term what we did when things kind of went south, the whole pandemic. But I think more importantly, it's about keeping that local trade alive, to keep those businesses going, because it's good not just for the main economy but for the local economy as well. I think we've lost you. Are you back?
Yeah,
Caroline,
no, exactly.
We've lost your picture slightly, Caroline.
Oh dear.
I don't know what's happened there.
I can still hear you.
Oh, that's fine. That's fine. We can carry on whilst doing it. I just wanted to quickly say, whilst we're on it, yeah, Westgate Communications have been brilliant for us, and I think even Pip said it the other day. Like, he's worked with a few press and PR companies, and, you know, sorry to give you a testimonial whilst you're there. If we could see you, you'd be going red right now, I'd hope. Yeah, he turned around and said that you know, we're so impressed with the help that Westgate have given us so far with your local delivery. We've had a number of features that we'd never have been able to get if it wasn't for the guys there, and just the way that they went about putting the press release together helped us learn the structure of that press release and what we needed to go into it. Like, Caroline and the team have been amazing. So I just wanted to pitch in there, Caroline, and just publicly say thank you to you guys at Westgate for the help you've given us with your local delivery. Obviously, you haven't charged us anything, you haven't asked for anything in return. We've just partnered up on it, so we couldn't thank you enough for that.
Yeah.
Oh no, thank you. And I think it is something that people, whenever you talk to someone about PR or communications, whether that's a business owner or even someone who is in marketing, they kind of sometimes are a bit scared of it. And you think, well, actually, if you take it down to basics, it can be really just a practical way of arranging your information on a page that makes all the difference. And it's something we're finding with the media at the moment, because so many media teams a few years ago, because of the abundance of online content, they diversified their own income streams. They earn through advertising and events and things, stuff that's not happening at the moment. So they've had to furlough their team or change how they work. And it means that when we're looking to communicate with them and build relationships with them, at the moment it's a bit more complicated, because we can't just pick up the phone because they're not at the office. And we might be talking to someone different because they are covering a different patch, or they're covering different working patterns at the moment because someone else is looking after children or a sick relative. So I think the way that we kind of see it is, it's all about making sure that they understand what the story is and why it's relevant to their target audience. And that's how we always try and build our communications, whether you're talking about a really complicated, like off-grid energy supplier, or whether you're talking about a local food producer. They're two very different sectors, but they both have some elements of practicality and just making sure that the message is clear and it resonates with who they want it to resonate with.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It sounds like, you know, it's been challenging for every business, any business, but communication and getting the messages out there has been key, I think, for everybody. So, you know, it's are you finding it? Are you finding it challenging yourself to get the message and the tone right?
I think it's a different way of working, and I think that we have had to change what we would have been doing for every client to make sure that it reflects this COVID backdrop, because what we would have been talking about 2 months ago it just doesn't sit well in this environment, whether you're talking directly about something to do with the pandemic, or even if you're looking at the future. You just have to change your focus, and you have to really kind of understand where your tone sits. Empathy is critical at the moment. It's always been important to incorporate the human angle into whatever you're saying, basically, because if you don't, it's really dull. But I think with the current climate, if you look like you're just out there to continue selling or bulldozing your message out there, and you've got no consideration for what other people are going through, it just looks really poor. So that's kind of where we've been advising people. Not that any of our clients have been pushing forward anything absolutely crazy. They completely get it, and they are seeing the changes in their own industry, and that's the place for them to comment on it. But I think it's just about making sure that you do take a step back and you look at it and think, actually, if I were reading this, or if I were in someone else's shoes, is this appropriate? Does it make me think well of this client or this company or this business? And if the answer is yes, then it's something you should be doing. And if you're adding value, then it's something that really helps.
Absolutely. And, we think you're doing a great job for us. We're really grateful for everything that you've done to support us with your local delivery. And unfortunately, we have run out of time, but thank you so much for coming on and for sharing your thoughts with us. And it's been great.
Yeah, no, thank you both. And I hope you have a good rest of the day. And we're very much hopeful that your local delivery helps so many businesses out there across Kent and beyond. So
we'll appreciate that. Thank you, Caroline.
No worries. Thank you, guys. Bye.
Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
That's really interesting to hear about, like, that difference and sort of that juggling act that the press and PR world are having to make right now when it comes to wording and getting it right.
Yeah, like Caroline said, a couple of months ago, the messages were totally different. Now you've got to be so careful that what you're putting out is appropriate.
It's so true.
Is the real key word to it, isn't it?
I mean, it's so true. And even just the little decisions in terms of what you're making for your business to move forward, and those decisions that businesses made when going into the lockdown and staffing and all those issues. It's just incredible the long-term effect that's going to have and is having right now. I think that's really, really interesting. Thank you, Caroline. And again, thank you, Westgate Communications, everyone there, for getting behind your local delivery and the support you're showing us. Thank you, Caroline. Great chat there with Jack. And we're sorry that we lost our video. See, she's talking about how great we looked, and then we lost Caroline in the end. So at the end, we couldn't pay her the compliment back because we couldn't see her. How annoying. Wow. Anyway, thank you, Caroline. And of course, we're back on Tuesday with 2 more amazing guests. Actually, I should have had them here so I could have told everyone, shouldn't I? I told everyone who we had. But right now, it's all about Challenge Jack. And we end the show like this anyway. Oh, the point I was going to make was make sure you hit subscribe so that you get a reminder through when we set up the live stream for Tuesday's show, back here at midday. Live. Jack, Challenge Jack is how we end it all the time. A and B is what you've done. Just tell us a bit about what's happened and what today's challenge is.
Today's challenge is quite simple. We put out a poll. You either vote for egg A or egg B. One is raw, one is boiled. But we don't know which. Well, I do. And I'm going to smash one over my head.
You're going to smash one over your head. The results are in. I've checked both platforms.
Okay, what we got?
And they have gone for everyone has gone for egg B. Everyone has gone for egg B.
Okay.
Now, before you do it, and before we end the show and we see what happens with said egg, again, pushing forward to next Tuesday, we have got Lisa Coulson from Canterbury Bid On to talk about business and the way businesses are getting help in Canterbury. And we've got viral sensation. Yes, he's a dog. Puggy Smalls is going to be with us with his owner, Nick. He's got nearly 500,000 followers across his social media platforms.
Oh, I can feel our subscribers shooting up already.
Lisa and Puggy on this show on Tuesday at midday. Make sure you hit subscribe. Right, Jack.
Yeah.
Challenge Jack. Everyone's gone for egg B.
Egg
A or egg B? No, egg B. Is it boiled or is it raw? We will find out. Jack, I will go over to you. Can I do the countdown?
I've never done it before, pardon?
Can I do the countdown?
Okay.
Right. 3, 2, 1, go.
Ow.
I bloody love this show.
Oh my God.
Can we zoom in one more time?
Oh, it's like I've been sick down myself.
Oh no.
Oh.
We have literally ended today's show with Jack having egg in his face.
It feels like a showbiz low. That's what this feels like.
If you want to vote for what Jack has to do on Tuesday's show, go to facebook.com/groups/SMEs Kent. That's SMES Kent. You can also get in there and tell us about your business, and we could feature you at the start of Tuesday's show in the featured 5. From now, all I think I can say is, Jack, go clean yourself up, mate. Thank you for watching, guys, and we'll see you Tuesday. Have an amazing weekend. Bye-bye.
Bye.